Hello everyone, it's time to connect with Caroline again. Tonight I have two beautiful ladies in front of me, and we have on my left side Christiana, and on my right we have Anissa. And today I'm going to be asking them just a few questions that I want you all to hear directly from them. And this is all in regards to their experiences when it comes to the COVID-19. I know they both have different experiences in terms of this pandemic, the way they deal with it. We have here Christiana, who's going to explain to you guys firsthand how she manages this pandemic working as a frontline worker. And we also have Anissa, who is going to be talking about the same pandemic from another perspective. So I think we're going to start with Christiana, who is going to just narrate to us her whole experience. So Christiana.
Hi, Caroline.
Welcome to Caroline's Motivational Television.
Oh, thank you.
Right. I just want you, before we go into why we're here today, just give us a brief background of yourself and what you do.
My name is Christiana. I'm a supportive housing worker. I work with clients with ABI and mental health that have issues with mental health with the justice. And it's really tough working with clients like that.
Right. So the reason why I brought you to the motivational television today is for you to explain to us your experience in terms of COVID-19. I know you as a mother, as a frontline worker, it's really not been easy. Mm-hmm. We've had conversations in the past where it's really not been easy, because when I talk with you, I feel what you go through. I see how you struggle with dealing with the pandemic, doing your job diligently, and at the same time taking care of your children. So just give us in brief what that experience for you is like.
I would say it's really, really tough and hard. At the beginning of it, I wanted to say, you know what, I want to stay home, take care of my kids. But I looked at myself, I said, you know what, this is what I love doing, so why will I stay home? I just have to practice a safe distance and go along with the safe precautions. And you know what's so scary when you get to work and you see your colleagues that you usually say hi and you hug each other. You get to work, you can't even hug each other, and there's a limited space in the office. Everybody has to be distanced away from each other. And then you have your clients that want to come sit with you one-on-one to discuss the issues, to go on with your goals. But you can't really do that, because what? They want to sit close to you. They don't know what is the safe distance, 2 feet apart. You have to keep explaining 2 arm length, your arm and my arm, and still they still come closer and move closer to you. And after the day, I'm so scared after work, and we have to really spray ourselves, clean yourself before you leave work. 8 hours you're working, you're wearing a mask, you're wearing the gloves. Every minute, every second, every door you touch, you come in, you change to another gloves. You wash your hand, and so it's so crazy and tough.
Right. And when you come back home from work, what actually happens? Because you're coming back from work knowing that you've exposed yourself out there working with the clients, but when you get home and you have to meet your kids, tell us how that goes.
What I did, I didn't really find it difficult when I meet my kids, because what I usually do before I leave the car after work, I have a sanitizer which is still in my car. I just take a paper towel over my hand and rub it all over my clothes and wipe it off, because I know the moment I'm opening the door, my kids are right by the door. And I didn't want to scare them away. Don't hug me, don't do this, I just have to keep myself clean and safe to come in and welcome them.
Right. I know, I can remember one of the challenging times that I had was this one day that you had to drop off some food supplies to my home. And I had to collect these supplies from you without hugging you. Mm-hmm. I must say that was one of the most difficult moments that I had in terms of dealing with this pandemic, because Christiana is a friend that I've known for over 15 years, and for us to meet face to face without hugging each other, that was traumatic for me, and it just speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. Thank you for sharing that experience. I know that you're a frontline worker, and what you do out there is amazing. I will continue to commend you for that, and keep doing what you're doing. At the end of the day, we're going to beat this together.
Thank you so much, Caroline, for having me here.
You're very welcome. And now we have Anissa, who is also affected by the pandemic in terms of her working from home instead of going to job on a regular day. But I'm going to let Anissa speak for herself. So Anissa, welcome to Caroline's Motivational Television again.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I think just to give a bit of a different story, working from home, everyone feels that you're rested, you get to wake up maybe 10 to 15 minutes before your shift, but the struggle that comes with it depends. Sometimes is your house well equipped with working from home? Do you have an office space? Because you got to think about the fact that you might be impeding on others. If you're living by yourself, then it's easier, but if you're living with other people, then everyone has to be respectful of the time frame you're working. So let's say you're working a regular 9 to 5. Everyone has their own different routine in the house. So if you don't have an office space, it means that from 9 to 5, this person feels as if they're in prison.
Right.
Because you're working, so you need the space to have quiet time. You need the space to be speaking with your client if you do speak with your client during your work.
Right.
And you also need the space where you're constantly thinking. It's just, it becomes an office but at home. I think my first challenge was the fact that it's good to go to work, you leave work, you come home, so you disconnect. But then the disconnection doesn't happen because you're still home. So
Right.
how is it that you disconnect even though you're working at home? So I think that was my biggest challenge. But overall, I'm blessed to say I have a family that's very understanding and very respectful. And they give me that space, that 9 to 5 that I really need to make sure I get my job done and to continue.
Wow.
So I'm grateful for that.
Okay. One question I have for you though. I know you said like you have a family that's very understanding in terms of your schedule and stuff. And do you have those moments where you are focused on your job and family has to distract you because they want you to take care of something?
All the time. I feel like sometimes I'm in the middle of a case and I'm trying to get to the last minute, finish it, and then my dad is calling me, oh, Anissa, do you remember this? Or my mom is calling me, or my sister's asking me for my opinion. So sometimes it's so hard to have that 5 minutes,
Right.
where it's just quiet. So the best times for me to work are actually in the morning. Afternoon are chaos because everyone is awake.
Right.
Everyone is in the kitchen, or the TV is on, or there's just something. So sometimes no matter how hard you want to concentrate, you kind of get distracted with everyone, kind of living their life because they don't have the same issues as you. So in some ways, I'm blessed because I feel for parents who have small kids and
I was just going to
to
say that. I was just going to say that.
My kids, I don't have kids, but my
Your
sisters, they feel like kids sometimes. They're big. They're in their teenage years, so I don't have to tell them to not do this or not do that.
Right.
But I feel for parents who have younger kids and they have to take care of them. That's hard.
Definitely. I find myself all the time in that
can't
situation.
imagine.
Yeah, because I work from home as well, and I have a 9-year-old that I have to support.
Yeah.
Like they
don't understand.
they don't understand. Like if they have questions to ask, they will come up to you and they will ask. And the expectation is that you have to respond as a parent. And
You don't
sometimes
have that break.
No, sometimes I have that guilt within me that I am spending 10 minutes of my work time trying to support my child. Or where do I find that balance?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I find myself, instead of closing at 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
I have to close maybe 10, 15 minutes later.
kind of make up
because
for that time.
Exactly. So it's
Nice.
kind of really challenging, per se. One question for you though. If you were to choose between working from home and working like the regular routine before COVID-19, what would you go for?
I would choose working from home. Reason why is my job place is far.
Okay.
So with traffic time, in the morning it might take an hour and a half to 2 hours for me
Right.
to get there. So now working from home, I get to save those 2 hours, and you get to save on gas, you get to save on so many things. And during my breaks, I can actually do things around the house that I want to do.
Right.
So I feel like I have more time in the day to do the
jealous
things I
right
want to do.
I know.
I'm
But
so
my
jealous.
work,
I was-
my workplace is far.
I'm
It takes
so
me
jealous,
2
like
hours
me
to
getting-
go, 2 hours to come back, depending on traffic, and especially on snow days is worse.
Right.
So working from home, hey, at 5 o'clock when I'm done at home, I'm done.
I know
And
everybody
I'm
keeps
already
saying
home.
we
So-
wish that COVID happened when it was winter. That would have been the best
but
because
it's
we would be
tough
spending the
now
time
when it's
home.
beautiful outside. You see everyone outside, you're stuck at home.
I know.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I
because
know. For you,
for me,
Christiana.
it's really, really. Why I say it's crazy because when you get to work, and sometimes you want to go out on your break and you look through the window because I work downtown and you see the crowd. You're like, okay, I'm taking my break inside.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, there's something I also wanted to mention at the beginning of the COVID. We were short of staff.
Right.
It was so hard. It was so difficult for us to cook. Because now, instead of having 6 staff, one shift, we're having 3, 4.
So you have to do like 3 people have to
Extra
cover a
work.
shift that
Yes.
is for like
Extra
4, 5,
work.
6 people.
And now we have to like, instead of everybody being in the office, because we have 2 floors that we have to cover, and you have to be on the other floor, and now we're short of staff because some of my colleagues, they have little kids.
Right.
They can't leave their kids at home anymore. They have to be with them,
Daycares
and they're
are closed,
scared.
yeah.
Right.
And some of them have older folks at home that are not really feeling good.
Right.
That are sick. Now, we have to take it to our time. Sometimes I do a double
Right.
just to cover up.
The other question I was going to ask you was, how do you deal with? I know you have young kids at home, and you have to finish your full-time shift from work and come back home to support your children, especially with homework and stuff. How do you manage that? It must be exhausting, but I want to hear
At
that
the
from you.
beginning, it was exhausting, but later on, kudos to my 2 lovely older kids, which really give me a helping hand. Sometimes if I come back from work, they print out homework, bring the schoolwork, and they already started it. All they have to do is just to snap it and say, Mom, done.
Right.
And sometimes I still have to sit with him. There's some stuff I like, you know what? Let me sit with him and do this work with him. Like yesterday, I have to sit with him and say, you know what, son? Let's go through this. You haven't done this. Let's do this together. It's stuff like when you come back home from
You're
work
tired.
and you need your time and you have to cook at the same time.
Right.
You follow up,
You have
and
to-
sometimes you follow
Right.
up with the 2 older kids too, and the teachers are sending you messages.
All the
They said,
Right.
oh, they haven't sent in this work. Then you have to say, okay, you bring your laptop. I want to
Let's
see what you're doing.
Right.
Let's see what you haven't done. To-do list. What is going on?
But
Why
for
you
me,
not
I
sending?
think
So it's
it
hard.
must really be hard
It's
for
tough.
single moms if you don't have the extra help.
Right.
You have to go to work, so you got to make sure that you leave your kids in safe hands.
Mhm.
If you don't have that safe hand, what do you do?
It's a challenge.
It's
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge.
It's tough.
Because-
I feel for everyone, who don't have family members or who are single or just don't have an extra hand to help.
And even if you have the family members, thinking of the fact that we have to still maintain social distancing, if we're not living in the same house, you still
Yes.
can't go to your family member.
Exactly.
You have to
Oh,
still
yes,
stay,
that's true,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, you still can't.
For me,
Because-
I just feel blessed because I have my siblings, my parents, so I never felt, the shutdown
need for-
of COVID.
Right.
I love the fact that for some time I was off, I was home, you get to catch up on things that you haven't done in a long time. But other than that, I didn't feel what everyone felt.
Right.
And I'm so grateful.
Right.
Because I heard stories where everyone, are still struggling. Like really, it's rough.
And that is really true because there are some families who don't really see the actual effects
Yes.
of COVID-19 because they don't fall under one of those categories that, like, take for example, a mother, like we're saying, a mother with children in daycare, and daycares are not functioning because of all of this, and they have to, even if they were to keep keep their jobs. They
Yes.
cannot do that because they have to stay home to take care of their children.
Like
So
I
that
have a
is really a
friend,
challenge.
her biggest struggle was she got to stay at home, but she felt that her productivity
Would not be
decreased.
effective.
Yes, because at home the atmosphere is different.
Different, yeah.
So she felt less productive being at home than actually being at work.
Right.
And I think a lot of people struggle with that because at work,
Yeah.
there's a certain motivation. You know that you're waking up, you're getting dressed, you're going to work.
Right.
But at home, you don't have that getting ready and everything, step. So
And that is completely true. You know how I beat that? Every single morning when I get up, straight to the shower, bathe, dress up as if I'm going to work.
wow.
That's what I do every single
That's
morning.
good.
I
Really?
dress up, yeah. I make up as if I'm heading out. And when the kids get up, it's the same thing. Like they're going to school. As you get up, straight into the shower, bathe,
Not
dress
my
up,
kids.
and then sit at the table
Wow.
and start doing your work. So we maintain the same routine as if we're going to work. And when it's 3 o'clock, I have to make sure I say, listen, the clock is ticking. Make sure that you're done with your homework by 3 o'clock because that's when school is done.
Wow.
If you finish before then, that's fine. If you don't, that's also okay. We support you through that. But yeah, that's how I
can't
go
speak
through.
for my routine. It's
I'm-
personal.
That's
When
what
I wake up, I
Mine
make
is
sure my
different.
teeth are brushed. I have my cup of coffee. I
Exactly.
still have my robe.
and you're working.
And I'm working.
For me, it's funny because I feel like if you are on the phone with clients, I feel like they can actually see me. So if I'm not dressed,
God, you're
exactly.
sick then.
No, I feel like that's what we always say. Like when I
Yeah.
tell my clients that if you're preparing for an interview, even if it's a telephone interview, you can feel it. If I'm not ready and I'm
Yes.
in my pajamas
Yes.
or in
you
my
feel
night,
it. You feel it.
I won't be
Yeah.
able to work
No,
effectively
I'm a
because I
hot
feel
mess.
like, oh my God.
I
Yeah,
had
that's
an
my
aunt
trick.
of mine FaceTime me. She's like, Anissa, you're letting yourself go. You need to know COVID will end and you'll come out and you need to look good.
Seriously.
So when you wake up, do your routine.
Try my
like, do
method.
your mask, everything.
Try my method. Honestly, you will love it. You feel prepared for the day. So yeah, that's the whole thing. So I just want to thank you two for being here. Thank you
Thank
for giving
you
me
for
this
having
opportunity to get you on board here. And I believe that your story is going to go very far. Thank you for sharing that. Christina, do you have a final word for us?
My final word would say, I'll just say, keep safe. Don't be scared. If you're a Christian, believe in God. If you're Muslim, believe in Allah. And if you're not, believe in whatever you believe and just keep strong.
Right.
And keep your faith and hope alive.
Okay. And Anissa?
It was nice. It was nice doing this. It was nice being asked. And I'm sure that there are people who are in my situation, there are people who are in yours, and there are people who are in Christiana's situation. So I think it was good overall for everyone to share their perspective and opinions. And yes, I love the video. Thank you for having me and Christiana.
And thank you, Anissa. And thank you, Caroline, for having both of us.
Thank you so much, and you all stay safe.
Yes, take
Love
care.
you.
Bye.
Bye.